guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to talk about what I was kind of talking about yesterday, and that was the information that Southern Prepper 1 put out on his channel, and talking about the military just not being at the state of readiness that it ought to be, and some of the soldiers having to use their own personal vehicles to get to training and just things like that, and just what an absolute mess that we find ourselves in. Understand, I don't consider myself a prepping channel, okay? Understand that first off, okay? But I do like to pay attention to what's going on. And I've said long on this channel, when you push preparedness to its logical conclusion, you will end up on a homestead. And I'm going to do a video, I think, coming out what's really the main reason why I started homesteading. We'll come out with that here soon. But let's get into something I saw on Twitter today. I want to read this to you. I think you're going to find this absolutely fascinating. And really, it's an overall umbrella of many of the things that are wrong with our country today, and with especially our military. And this is very worrisome because we rely on our military. We have always been very proud of our military. We've always, depended on them to step up when we needed them to do so. And I don't think that can be the case anymore. And if you're not paying attention, and a lot of other channels have pointed this out, we are absolutely 100% progressing towards conscription, a draft for our military. This is something that's been discussed already in Congress, at the Capitol. This is where we're going. And one of the main reasons for that is because we can't get new enthusiastic recruits. People who have always served our military have always been enthusiastic about doing so. When I joined the military, there were definitely times where I didn't want to be there, but I wanted to join. I spent years went to military schools. So it's like I wanted to join the military. And there were definite reasons why I got out. I didn't like some of the bureaucracy that was there mostly. But when we were deployed, I loved the military. I loved being in the infantry, being deployed. But when you're back in the rear and you've got all this nonsense you're dealing with, all this bureaucracy, and it makes you want to pull your hair out. And then you have to ask the question, well, is this worth it? So and that was back during Clinton, so we were already heading downhill back then. Let me go ahead and read this to you. I think this is going to be very interesting to you. Stick with me here. Over at Twitter, Brad Miller posted this just the other day. It says 3 years ago on June 10th, 2021. Now, just keep in mind, I'm going to be switching out some verbiage here because of the YouTube censorship communist algorithm. So just keep that in mind, but you can read along with me. It's on your screen if you're watching your screen. Otherwise, you'll be able to know what words I'm switching out here. Okay, I assumed battalion command, knowing fully I'd be fired soon after. I was relieved of command October 28th, 2021 for not complying with the Pokey Poke implemented on August 2021. The first 10 days of June 2021 were the hardest of my 19 plus years in the Army, even harder than the 10 toughest days in the Army Air Assault School. I arrived at Fort Campbell, Kentucky on June 1st, juggling a variety of emotions, excitement, and nerves for command mixed with the sickening feeling that I'd soon endure the ignominy of being relieved of command and losing my career. There was no way I was going to take the Pokey Poke and didn't want to order others to take it against their wishes. I didn't personally trust the Pokey Poke, and beyond that, I had assumed since day one that we were being lied to in some way with the Pokey Poke narrative, although I didn't necessarily know how back then. I have always assumed it was an op. I have been distrustful of our government for a very long time, which is difficult as an Army officer. There was no way I was going to go along with something I believe was ultimately intended to be destructive, even if it was difficult to exactly articulate how and why I thought that at that relatively early stage to others who would have found that idea preposterous. During those 10 days prior to taking command, I couldn't sleep. I wasn't even sure taking command was the right thing to do. I considered approaching the division commander, then Major General J.P. McGee, and telling him, "Sir, I cannot take command, and it's better if I don't. You don't even want me in command, and I'm clearly not on the team, and it will be less disruptive to you and me, and most importantly, the battalion, if I don't take command just to be fired shortly thereafter." I decided against that, though. No, I told myself I'm not going to back down. I'm not the one in the wrong here. I'll make them fire a battalion commander, and then I tried to view it as a moral challenge as it was. It was incredibly difficult. Perhaps it sounds arrogant, so be it. But to steel myself psychologically, I had to often remind myself that I was in the right, even if it meant that virtually everyone around me, particularly at my peer level and above, thought that I was in the wrong. I don't know how that sounds. It is what it is. I've said many times that it's clear our senior military leaders obviously can't recognize the true strategic threat since they all went along with the pokey poke op. I had to accept that in the grand scheme of my entire command, which should have lasted 24 months but only lasted 4, would be reduced down to my decision on the pokey poke. No one would care about the readiness levels of my battalion, my tactical acumen, or the ways in which I adjudicated military justice in any other way in which commanders are typically measured. I look back on that period from June to October 21 as the defining period of my entire military career. To include my time at West Point, I've never tried to paint myself up as something I'm not. I've never said that I was a great officer who always got everything right, but I do think I was a reasonably good officer who had a successful career, well, except for that whole getting fired part. I do take my oath to the Constitution seriously. I do love my country and care for my countrymen. I do believe in doing the right thing because it's the right thing, consequences be damned. If you actually read this whole thing, let me know below. And so I would urge you, this is what he looked like, and I guess in his last photo before he took command, Lieutenant Colonel. And because he was at Fort Campbell, he's probably, taking command of an airborne unit of some sort. Anyway, that's his profile now. Obviously, he's grown a beard because he's a real man. Happily resigned, Army officer, American constitutionalist, truth, follows the King of Kings. Absolutely go follow him on Twitter. The majority of people who used to join the military believed in the Constitution. They believed in God-given rights and freedoms. They normally came from conservative and patriotic families who usually have a long line of people who in their family lineage who have served before them. This was true in my unit when I was deployed and when I was in the military, and it was true for people who came before me and other people who served alongside me. But that's not the case anymore. Most people are in the military, they're doing it for college. So here's the deal. When times really get tough, and that's going to happen, when times really get tough, are these people who are just there for the college money, who are just there for the sign-on bonuses, are they going to be able to dig down deep into that intestinal fortitude and do what needs to be done to defend this country? I'm going to say no. If I'm a betting man in Vegas, I'm betting no. That's not going to happen. Not to mention, we are moving towards conscription because we cannot meet recruiting goals anymore. Many families who long proudly served and sent their sons and daughters to serve, they have said, you know what? They're discouraging their children to serve now. We don't want them to serve. I've told my kids, I do not want you to serve this military. I do not believe in the things that this flag stands for anymore. Now, I understand the flag represents our Constitution and our republic. I get that. But it's been hijacked. It's literally been hijacked, people like me no longer feel the enthusiasm that we once did. I think I'm entirely accurate in my diagnosis right now. And you got guys like this guy who did what was right and stood up and said no, and he was fine with paying the consequences for that because it meant he kept his integrity. And that's something we see just so little of today. Hey, listen, I'm going to have Taylor Kenny on my channel here coming up soon, and we're going to be talking about some of the economics, ins and outs. We're going to have a fun conversation. Did you see? I saw it on Twitter right before I started the video. Now, we'll see how it ends the day. But yesterday, the Russian ruble was paired 90-1 for the U.S. dollar, and it's falling. The U.S. dollar is falling today. Last I checked, it was 87 to the U.S. dollar. That's interesting. I mean, that's just crazy. They have sanctions. Well, how come the sanctions aren't working? because you have one country who has backed its currency now in gold. I forgot what it was. It was like 1 gram of gold to 500 rubles or something like that. I don't remember. But that they've backed their currency in gold. And they're figuring out, okay, we have other trading options. You can do all the sanctions you want. But we have other trading opportunities that are out there. And so we're going to go do those. And we're going to set up this new BRICS system. And whatever it's called, I forgot, M something or other. Someone will put a comment below. But we have other options. You're not the only, kid on the block anymore. And because you've bullied us so much with your dollar and your sanctions and everything else, we're going to go find a different sandbox to play in. And right now, the sandbox that they're playing in is getting bigger. The U.S. dollar is falling against the ruble today. What is it? Let me go check. There it is, 87.89. Guys, Zach, you seem a little bit too excited about this. Listen, I'm excited because what I've been telling you is happening. I've been telling you guys for the last couple of years, back when I really started pushing the gold silver thing, I'm like, hey, it's good to have water. It's good to have food. It's good to have land. It's good to be able to raise animals and have a garden area already ready to go and working on those things. But also, if you have wealth in the bank, get it out of the dollar. Put it in something physical. And the reason I've been telling you this is because I can read history books. This has happened over and over again through history. And the outcome is a certainty at this point. You have this paper, and it's going to be that. That is your future. That is your future cost for the price of a loaf of bread. It's happened over and over and over again throughout history. And so I've been telling people, and back when I started really telling people on this channel, gold was $1,700 an ounce. What is it today, right now? So we partnered with ITM Training. Taylor Kennedy is going to be on my channel here coming up next week. It's going to be a great interview. We're going to talk about all the stuff happening right now on the world stage when it comes to financials. And we're going to talk about on a level that's like you don't have to be an economist to understand this stuff, guys. All you got to be able to do is be able to understand some basic math and some historical principles that happen over and over again. And you're going to really enjoy this interview. So if you're interested, and if you have money still in the financial paper asset system that's out there, denominated in paper assets, you need to get out. There's an ITM link down below. Call them. Stop waiting. The ruble is rising against the dollar. How much more evidence do you need? One's gold backed and the other is toilet paper. Toilet paper. Don't wait. ITM Trading link down below. Click on it now. Click on it today. All right, guys, let me know what your thoughts are below. I'd love to hear what you think. See you guys next time at the Homestead. Bye! Have you ever gone to a health food store and seen all those small bottles of probiotics in your cooler section? Man, can they be pricey. Are you really getting all you need to improve your gut health from those expensive bottles? How viable are they? Most of those products claim to give you between 8 and 15 strains of gut-healthy healing bacteria. Think of each strain of bacteria as a different factory in your gut. Each factory is responsible for breaking down that food in its own way. The more factories you have, the more the food is broken down and the easier the food is absorbed and digested by the body. A 2018 study published by the National Library of Medicine shows that one fermented head of cabbage can produce up to 114 strains of beneficial bacteria. That's a lot more food factories than you're getting from that expensive pill bottle. And that's just cabbage. Imagine the probiotics when you add garlic, onions, pepper, and more to that ferment. PerfectPickler.com and its home fermentation kits provide you with everything you need to get started making your own gut-healthy food factories from the comfort of your own kitchen. PerfectPickler.com even provides a jam-packed recipe book with many of our kits. Visit PerfectPickler.com and start fermenting your own veggies to begin your journey to better gut health. That's PerfectPickler.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the Homestead that we make here on the Homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.